Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian whistleblower, with the bad throat and all, pressing on with pride. Please don't be upset if I'm not talking on the phone. I'm using every bit of strength I have, talk wise, for these broadcasts. I'm a former 20-year Protestant minister. I have over 100,000 hours of study in the biblical scripture and a Bible college degree. I want to talk to you today about the strange thing of the Lord. Many of you watched the Stranger Things TV show. Many of you didn't know that there was a strange thing about the Lord and a strange act. And I think this is very powerful revelation for us in the battle that we fight against the Lord. And I believe that we are fighting a battle against the Lord and his minions. So let's get right into the scriptures. And I don't usually read you many different versions, but I want to show you here that there is some interesting thing here. Isaiah 28:21. If you read the King James, the Lord, so we know who we're talking about. The Lord is the God of the Bible. I contend that he is a false, fallen, failed God. He's not a true God, and he is the adversary of the Christ. He's the one called Satan. He's the one called the devil. He is the arch adversary of the Christ. Just look through the Old Testament. See how many people he killed, how many babies he dashed against the rocks. And if you can justify that, then I really can't help you. So anyway, the Lord will rise up as in Mount Perazim. He shall be wroth as in the valley of Gibeon, that he may do his work, his strange work, bring to pass his strange act. And if you look at this, the New International Version talks about him performing an alien task. The New Living Translation talks about him doing an unusual deed. The English Standard says alien is his work. New American Standard says it is extraordinary. Holman Christian says it is disturbing. International Standard Version again says it is alien. NET Bible says it is strange, extraordinary, mysterious. So it is an act that is highly unusual for the Lord. And let's take a look at this and look at what exactly he did. And I'm going to show you in the King James Version because that's what most of you are used to. Now, this is a very unusual predicament for a couple of reasons. And number one, it seems to be one of the very rare occasions where the Lord himself actually involved himself in a battle. Usually he's Charlie Manson. The shirt says Jesus Slaves, and he really does. Jesus Slaves is available at my website, jeffreydaugherty.com. So in Mount Perazim, as in the valley of Gibeon, the Lord personally intervened. He personally intervened to do a work that was called strange. He personally intervened to bring to pass an act that was strange, that was unusual, that was, even in the opinion of multiple biblical translators, it was alien. What does that mean? Well, if we go into the Hebrew of these various verses, these various translations, we will see that the Lord is said to have come in like a flood at Mount Perazim, come in like a flood in the valley of Gibeon. And that's a clue because as we look at the history of it, there is no historical data about the Lord producing any water at Perazim or any water at Gibeon. There was no literal water. But yet, it's said in biblical parlance that the strange act, the alien act, was like a flood. Well, I believe that the scriptures are written with the belief and understanding that someday a people with all of the technological and scientific expertise necessary to understand them will read them. I believe we're in that day. And if you think about a flood, what are floods made up of? They're made up of waves, aren't they? And if we begin to think about the Lord moving in a wave can move when there is no water, if it is an energetic wave. So I believe what we're looking at here, and the reason why so many biblical interpreters have called it so many different things, they've called it alien, they've called it unusual, they've called it alien, they've called it extraordinary, they've called it strange. And the reason they've done so is because, pardon me again, the Lord moved at Perazim, the Lord moved at Gibeon with a wave. And I would submit to you that it was an energetic wave. An energetic wave that was strange, extraordinary, and alien to the surroundings and certainly to the site and situation of this battle. And whatever the Lord did, it stupefied the enemy and allowed David, King David, to emerge victorious from this event. When we put this together with the fact that Daniel has talked to us about the Lord as Antichrist using the Mandela effect in an effort to change timelines, an effort to create new timelines, an effort to alter notable events, which has all happened. I would submit to you that the Lord is using a wave, just like he did in Perazim, just like he did at the Valley of Gibeon. The Lord is using a wave, a energetic wave, to perpetrate the Mandela effect. And as Daniel told us, and I'll put in the note box the connections to my teachings on the Mandela effect. Of course, I've been on Coast to Coast AM, written a book about it. So we have some very extensive information about the Mandela effect. The Lord is using a wave to produce this Mandela effect, which has as its ultimate goal preventing the emergence of da'ath or death knowledge, revelation to us people, us his people, the people of the Christ, that we will be able to leverage and use to ultimately defeat the Lord. I'll be talking with you later today about the rise of death and the death of the Lord. I believe both are soon to come to pass. So the Lord's using a wave. He's using a wave just like the Mandela effect, and he's using it to cause us to miss out on revelation knowledge that will lead directly to his destruction. Now, back here at Perazim, what did he do? Did he cause the people that David was fighting against to lose track of time? Did he cause them to go back in time? Did he cause them to warp into an alternative timeline? Did he have them go back to where they couldn't remember? They didn't know how to fight. They couldn't remember how to wield a sword. They couldn't remember how to wield a spear. I don't know. All I do know is that it was extraordinary. It was strange. It was even alien, the act that the Lord did here at Perazim. And it was very strange that he actually got involved and didn't Charlie Manson it like he usually does. The Lord usually makes people go kill people, babies, boys, and girls for him. The Lord doesn't dash babies against stones on his own. He has one of his human servants do it. And if you're willing to be that human servant, then shame on you. I'm hoping that you'll wake up soon and stop being used by this evil being. So what's this all pointing to? Well, this is all pointing to the fact that the Mandela effect is a wave. And I became aware of the work of Cliff High. He was talking about how the D-Wave computers work. I understand that they do try to isolate the chips in these great big cans, some of them the size of rooms. And to do that, they're pushing all of the reality out of those cans. And I believe that reality that's being pushed out of those cans is waving out into our surroundings, and that is what is causing the Mandela effect. And Cliff pointed out that the first D-Wave computers were in California, and the first implementations of the Mandela effect were in movies and television, California. That the D-Wave computers moved to Texas, and that we began to see, that's the Bible Belt, we began to see changes in the Bible. And they also pointed out that D-Wave computers began in New York, and we began to see changes, Mandela effect changes in Madison Avenue advertising. So you can really just about map the spread of the Mandela effect by mapping the spread of the D-wave computers. So even though most people want to tell you that the Mandela effect has to do with CERN, nah, it has to do with the D-wave computers and the pushing out of reality and the rippling out of waves that the Lord is using and leveraging. And just like he typically does, he doesn't create the wave himself. He leverages the wave to do his work. So first of all, in strange, it's alien for the Lord to actually get involved. I don't believe the Lord's a threat. I believe he is. Well, I think Paul busted him out a little bit when he said the Lord's like a roaring lion that goes about seeking whom he can devour. And if you know anything about lions, they're lazy. They will go out and roar, and that roar is terrible. That roar can be heard for up to a mile. And animals that are in good cover, animals that are safe, will hear that roar, panic, and run. And then that's when the lions will get them and eat them. So if you hear the roaring of the Lord, know that he is just a lion spouting off, failed, flatulent God. Stay in your cover. Don't run. Don't be afraid. You are more than a conqueror. You have the spark of divinity within your heart. He can't defeat that. Don't fall for his fear tactics. Don't fall for his guilt tactics. Resist the wave of fear. Resist the wave of guilt, and resist the disillusionment of the Mandela effect. Resist the bewilderment of the Mandela effect, and resist the challenge of being obsessed with it, so that you can continue to follow the ways and the truths that lead unto life. Remember that Christ did not give us the spirit of fear, but the power of a sound mind, and he left us with peace, and that peace that passes all understanding, and he gives us life and life more abundantly. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower, here to tell you that the Lord is trying to work a strange thing, and it can no more affect you than that TV show can. Don't surf the Lord's waves, bro. Just let him go and catch a true wave of the Elohim. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower, encouraging you to guide your own spirit, master your own ascension, be your own guru, encouraging you to ask questions and question answers. And above all else, ladies and gentlemen, I'm encouraging you to stay fearless and to unindoctrinate yourself.